Holy moly, it's hot out here. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Rifle. God damn it. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Rifleman. It's a little after 7 p.m. on July 11th, so we've still got a fair amount of daylight left, but I don't want to waste a lot of time here. I was going to try to set up a sound recorder and multiple cameras. I do have 2 cameras set up, and I'll explain that in a second. And the chronograph, but it looks like, I'm kind of up against it here. So I'm going to try to keep this brief. As most of you already know, because you read the title of the video, I'm out here shooting my Sedgely Krag, and I've talked about this at great length in another video. I will post a link to that video in the end screen of this video, so to save time and to try to alleviate your boredom at listening to me talk. But this is an RF Sedgely conversion of a model 1898 Krag. I bought this 30 years ago probably at an estate sale at an auction on a farm. This and an old 1905 Ross rifle were both stored up in the hayloft of the barn, and I bought this rifle and I paid probably too much money for it at the time, although you couldn't touch this rifle for what I did pay. I think I paid $250, which my dad told me I was crazy back in those days, but this thing was completely encrusted in cobwebs and corn cob dust, and it just looked like an absolute derelict rifle. The bore is not great. Obviously, the rifle's been carried a lot. There's a significant amount of bluing wear. There was some light surface rust here and there. The bore is okay. It's not great. It still has a bit of shine to it. It's got pretty much rifling left in it. Strong rifling, sharp rifling, but it's definitely frosty. This rifle's seen some corrosive ammo, unsurprisingly, and wasn't always cleaned perfectly. But mechanically, I detail stripped this a few years ago, which is when I discovered the Sedgely proof mark on the barrel underneath the rear sight. And on the inside, this rifle's practically brand new. It's in near mint condition. It's just the outside doesn't look very nice, and the bore is not minty fresh. But as I recall, now like I said, I bought this rifle about 30 years ago. As I recall, it shot okay, but we'll see. I haven't shot this rifle in probably 20 years. And my purposes of shooting this video are I guess threefold. I want to shoot the rifle because I haven't shot it in a long time. I'm going to do some chronograph testing here with some handloads that I didn't make up. You can see these are very old boxes. This is, and of course the rifle is chambered in 30 Army or 30-40 Krag. This box says 30 Army, and it's got 30-40 Krag in parentheses. And then this box of Winchester Super X, both of which have these very menacing-looking grizzly bears on them. This one says 30-40 Krag with 30 Army in parentheses. I don't know which of these is newer. Both of these boxes have had a lot of mileage. And these handloads, I wouldn't normally, I don't recommend shooting other people's handloads. And it's not a practice that I usually engage in. However, this ammo was put together. The brass is an amalgamation of old stuff. These are Sierra boat tail soft points, 180 grain. These are in Winchester repeating arms brass, WRA brass, with just a date code of 31 on the bottom. So this is surplus stuff. Anyhow, the guy who loaded the... Oh, it's falling apart. I think these boxes are going in the trash. But the guy who loaded this ammo was a friend of mine and a very meticulous guy. He was an engineer and a scientist. He has his load data written on the box. I'm not going to share that with you because YouTube doesn't like you promulgating load data, and I don't really feel like incurring the liability of having you misinterpret what I say. So I can tell you that these loads, that as he has them documented, are probably running right around 2,000 feet per second, according to my old loading manuals. We're going to find that out. So we've got 180 grain Sierra boat tails there. And this also says 180 grain Sierra boat tails. This is a box of Western Winchester silver tips. In fact, what we have here in Remington UMC brass, marked 30 USA. You know this brass is old if it doesn't say 3040 Krag on it. These are loaded. I have 4 rounds here that are loaded with, I would guess these are not 180 grain bullets. I would guess these are probably 200 grain. Round nose hollow points. These look like heavy duty bullets. These look like the type of thing you would take moose hunting or grizzly bear hunting. So if anybody has an idea what these bullets might be, please comment down below. I'll show some close-ups of those if I haven't done so already. And then there's 5 more rounds in this box that I think, these are in Super X brass, just as the box says, Western Super X, 3040 Krag. These have factory crimps on them, and as you can see, they have the bright and shiny old-fashioned Winchester silver tipped bullets. I believe this is factory ammo from whenever these boxes are from, the 1930s, the 1940s. So we'll go ahead and shoot those and chronograph those as well. Now, as I said, I haven't shot this rifle in at least 20 years, and my dad had it for quite a while. I have no idea where it's sighted in. So I have a big sheet of cardboard, greasy cardboard. It was one of my ghetto creepers off the floor of my garage with a piece of Gorilla Tape slapped in the middle of it because I have no idea where this is shooting. I have that set up at 50 yards. I think we'll start off with these weird hollow point loads because I have the fewest of those. But I am going to chronograph those anyway. Rifle, 1,700 to 5,000 feet per second. They should be higher than 1,700 feet per second. We'll see. And I'm going to skip the bullet weight because I don't know what that bullet weight is. All right. We'll go over the chronograph data after I'm done shooting. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot these 4 round nose hollow points and just see if I'm on cardboard. This should give me an idea of about where the rifle's shooting. All right, magazine, do your magic. Here we go. This is the first time shooting this rifle in a long time. Let's see how we do. I don't have a camera set up on the chronograph, so I will call those shots out as I make them. Squeeze bag. There we go. I'm gonna need my big squeeze bag for 50 yards. All right, that ought to do. That's disconcerting. All I wonder if I didn't chamber around or if that was a dud. No, it was chambered. And well dimpled. That was a dud. Let's hope this isn't the case with all of these. So let's try another one. Wow. These aren't light strikes. These primers are well dented. Well, that's all right. I'll pull these bullets at home, and I'll actually have a chance to weigh them and see what they are. I'm mostly shooting this stuff up so I can recycle this brass. Well, not recycle. I'm not taking it to the recycle center. I mean, so I can reload it. I do occasionally take cartridge brass to the recycling center, but not stuff like 30 Krag. Well, I hope all of this ammo isn't duds. These primers are clearly bad. Alright, so that was a waste of time. All 4 of those round nose hollow points were dud primers. Now, we've got 5 rounds of what I believe is old factory Winchester Super X silver tips. These have got a date from like the 1930s or the 1940s. Let's see if any of these will go off. There we go. All right, Winchester silver tip, factory ammo, 1930s. $22.64. That's a little hotter than I was expecting. $22.97. $22.48. $22.39. Now, this stuff's pretty consistent. And really soft shooting compared to, say, 30-06. It's easy to see why they replaced the 30-40 Krag with the 30-06. I am going to take a quick stroll down to that piece of cardboard, see if I can get an idea of where we're shooting. And at that point, I'm going to try shooting at my steel gong, my 8-inch steel gong at 200 yards. And I've got my new Olympus OMD EM1 out here, new to me, and a new 40 to 150 Olympus lens on there. It's not quite enough zoom to get a really good look at that gong, so I cropped it in a little bit to beef it up some. Let me see where I was shooting here. As you can see here, all 5 of those rounds went into a nice tight little group here. It looks like 2 went through 1 hole here because there's no other holes on the target. So we're like 1.5 inches to the left. I will adjust slightly And if we're on at 50, I think with this rifle, I should be pretty much on at 200. There's my gong out there, but we'll see if I can hit that, and we'll film that with the new Olympus. Okay, so we were shooting just a tiny little bit to the right. So I want to bring the rear sight over to the right slightly. Just about that much, I would say. That was 2222, by the way, 0.7. So now we're going to start a new session, and these are 180 grains. All right, new session started. These are Bob's Handloads, featuring 180 grain Sierra boat tails, is all he describes them as. So I'm going to turn the magazine off, and we'll just single load these. And see if we can hit this gong at all. Now these should be right around 2,000 feet per second. These should be a little bit slower than those factory Winchester silver tips were. $2,039.7. As I suspected, quite soft indeed. I don't think I hit the gong though. $2,096.7. $2,029.7. I keep thinking I hear metal ringing, but I'm not seeing my gong moving. I guess we'll see when we review the video. What a joy this rifle is to shoot, though. Recoil is extremely manageable. $1986.4. $2023.6. I'd really like to hit that gong at least once. Even with these open iron sights, come on. It was dead on elevation-wise at 50, so we'll assume it's a little bit low at 200. I don't know. We'll be able to see in the video for sure. And this rifle just feeds so smooth. Alright, I saw where that one hit, finally. Shooting quite a bit to the right still. That's my problem. I think I pulverized a rock or something. There's a big shower of dust. So if I'm shooting to the right, I've got to chase the shot with the rear sight. Now, you know what? I'm just going to try holding off. I've only got 4 rounds left here. Not going to make any more sight adjustments. Let's see. There's at least a whole target off to the right, so... Three more rounds. Am I ever going to hit this gong? I really don't much care for open sights out past about 50 or so, but no excuses. I almost feel like I heard it, and I almost felt like I could see the gong moving, but if one of these 180 grain bullets had hit that gong, it would have been slapped around. It wouldn't have just been sort of vibrating. 2025.9. Oops. I haven't been calling out my chronograph data. I've been too frustrated with this. Oh, I hit a gong, just not my gong. Alright, this is the last shot of the night. $2036.5. So I'm pretty... Oh, look at the barrel smoking. So I'm pretty sure I did not hit the gong at all, but I did have a decent little group at 50 yards. I don't think I connected with the gong at all at 200 yards. Area scratch. That was already there. But that's a hell of a poke with open iron sights, so not surprised. But let's take a look at the chronograph data. So the Winchester silver tips, or the Western silver tips, as the case may be, very small sample size, only 5 shots, so I don't know how much we can extrapolate from this data, but we had a minimum of 2222.7, a maximum of 2297.3, an extreme spread of 74.6, and a standard deviation of only 25.3. So, again, very small sample set, but that's not too terribly bad for 90-year-old ammo, maybe? Factory ammo? Now let's take a look at Bob's Handloads. These are 180 grain Sierra boat tails. And this was 12 shots, so it's a little bit better data set. Minimum of 1986.4, a maximum of 2096.7. So that left us with an extreme spread of 110.3 feet per second. So that's okay, not great. I've seen better, Bob, but you're not with us anymore, so I'm not going to cast aspersions on your handloads. Standard deviation of 24.9, though, that's pretty good. Average kinetic energy, because I did know the bullet weight of these, the average kinetic energy was 1655.6. And the average power factor was 366.3. So, anyway, the old Krag can certainly shoot at 50 yards. I'm going to get working on turning this and some other old brass into newly loaded ammunition, and we'll do a more exhaustive test of the Krag once I have some ammo that I really know what the hell it is. And when I do that, I hope to see each of you here then. Later, guys.